Hello, my name is David Nguyen, and I am a technical marketing engineer with Cisco's Computing Systems product group. This video is a part of a series that is intended to show some of the unique advantages made possible by Cisco's server offering called the Unified Computing System, or UCS for short. This video will show the viewers how to manage servers in a multi-tenant deployment, especially with the latest features that allow servers to be managed through the in-band. In-band management was first introduced in software release 2.2.1. Prior to 2.2.1, the server SIMC management always had been done through the management port of the UCSFI. With in-band management, now you can manage the SIMC servers through the same port as the data link on the 10 gig ports, which is also known as in-band management. You can manage the SIMC servers both with v4 or v6 addresses. This is only supported on M3 or later server models with the VIC 1200 or later models. With SIMC servers, you can now be able to do KVM, IPMI, or SLL. Here we have a diagram to help illustrate what we're talking about by in-band management. Prior to the 2.2.1 release, all SIMC management to the blade servers or rack server has always been done through the out-of-band ports. So you see the white line, and then you see the management port, the 1 gig port connecting on the white line. So that purple arrow is illustrating that's an out-of-band management. Now with the in-band management feature coming in to 2.2.1 release, you can now go access the same SIMC through the uplink port as the data link port. So that's representing the red line. So you can go through that 10 gig port and reach the SIMC of the servers to do your KVM, IPMI, or SLL. So the benefit of this in-band management is on multiple folds. The first one is that you no longer need to go through the 1 gig port. So you're not bounded by that 1 gig limit. So if you're especially in a multi-tenant environment where you're servicing a lot of customers and customers are accessing their server blades to do management, whether it's installing through the KVM, they're doing some sort of IPMI or some sort of system logs, it's all now go through the 10 gig so they can benefit from the additional bandwidth. Another thing is that you're totally separating your UCSM management connectivity from your SIMC of your customer, so they're not sharing the same link anymore. They're only totally different separate links. In addition, they're on different IP addresses, so now you don't have to expose that part of it. And second and lastly is that in a customer environment, you don't want to have, you may want to separate your customer's SIMC management on different VLANs. So customer A can be on VLAN 16, customer B on 17, and customer C on 18. So that means you can further segregate the SIMC management across. And that's what we're trying to show here in this diagram here. So basically, we'll have two different uplink ports, similar to like a disjoint L2 disjoint connectivity. One uplink will be servicing for your customer's data traffic, and the other uplink will be just for the SIMC management. Okay, so now we want to show you a demo on how to configure in-band management. So first what you need to do is create an IP pool. And here we already have an IP pool for in-band for v6, but let's create a new one for v4. So we're going to type in in-band IPv4 here. Then next we want to configure our blocks starting, and what's my starting range, or how big I want it, and then obviously my gateway. After this, we'll go ahead and click OK. And we can finish this off. So after we finish our pool, the next thing we want to do is configure the VLANs for the in-band. So you can configure the VLANs either through the VLAN group or within the VLAN in itself. For simplicity, since we're using different uplinks, we're going to use VLAN groups. And let's create a group called in-band. After we do this, next we want to do is configure create VLANs. So we're going to create VLAN 16 through 19, and we're giving the name in-band dash. After that, we want to assign the uplinks, but let's go ahead and select it first. But let's go ahead now. We want to select the uplinks here, and these are going to be the uplinks that these in-band management for the SIMC is going out of. Okay, so now we have configured the necessary configurations for the VLAN group and the uplinks. Next, we want to go to the LAN cloud and go to global policies. Here we want to do in-band VLAN, and we want to set which in-band group we want to set. By setting this, this now lets you to choose which VLANs you want to select for the networks. Okay, so before I go on, the network and the IP pool name, these are basically for very similar to the server hardware SIMC configurations. If you set these up right now, then when you pop a blade in, then it'll automatically configure the in-band configurations for the server, then which reside on the server. But for our case, let's go ahead and go through the service profile because we want these configurations to live with the server profile. So if it ever moves to different servers, the same IP address moves along with it. So let's go to the server I have here called RHEL 7-1. And to configure it, you go down to the change management IP address, click, now select your in-band network, then you want to select your in-band IP address, then it's going to automatically pull it from the pool that we just created. So if we go back and just check it real quick, you notice that we have an out-of-band and in-band and IP address. So if we go to KVM, you notice you have two options to either initiate from the in-band IP address or the out-of-band. So we're going to initiate the KVM through the in-band. So let's go ahead and bring up our KVM here. So first thing you notice that it used the in-band IP address that we initiate on. Second, you have the same virtual media functionality as you would as you doing out-of-band. So now you can definitely map a CD or a file to it. So you have that same functionality here. Okay. So if let's say we have Rails 7.2 and this is a different customer, let's say customer B, obviously we can put this on a different VLAN, and since we do have 617, we'll just do 17. And since I didn't create a pool, I'm going to do it statically here. We're going to enter an IP address. Here we go, and then put our default gateway. Then go ahead, click OK. Once that's done, now we can access it through a different. So we separate the RHEL 7.1 and 7.2 on different VLANs for SIMC access. Another thing I want to point out is that if you want to limit the viewing from a customer, because all KVM has to be done through the UCSM. So here what I do, I'm creating an organization, and we're going to configure the in-band configuration here real quick. And the whole idea is if you don't want the customers to have access to UCSM and log in completely, what you can do is just point them to the UCSM virtual IP address. And here really quickly, I'm just showing the localities of customer A where I create the sub-organizations. But once you create the, given the customers the UCSM virtual IP address, they can go in to the UCSM splash page. Here, they can't log in because they don't have a credential, but what they can do is launch the KVM Launch Manager. So let me log in with customer A credentials. And if you notice right away, you only have that one server that customer A is being assigned to for that organization. Here, if you have KVM, you have access to in-band or out-of-band as well. One thing I want to point out is that if you don't want to expose the out-of-band IP address, then just don't configure the out-of-band management interface, then it won't expose it. Then you can just expose only the in-band. So, okay, so while this is booting up, you can see that KVM has been launched. Now, I just want to show you one last piece. Let's go back to the original spot where we went to global policies. Remember, I didn't configure the network or IP pool. Well, in this case, let's go ahead and configure it. But before we do that, I just want to show you really quick what I'm talking about through the server SIMC. So if you look at the server SIMC, there's nothing there to configure. Okay, so you can go back there and configure it manually, or you can do it automatically. And the way to do it is go back to the LAN, global policies, and set this up. What this does is that every server that gets pushed in or gets connected into UCSM or Discover will automatically be configured with these parameters. So it's going to be part of VLAN 16 and it's going to be pulled from the IPv4. So if we go back to our SIMC and then go back into our in-band, you notice that now it will have an IP address for that in-band. This concludes our demo. So the whole purpose of this in-band management, it gives the user the ability to separate the management traffic from the SIMC. In addition, into a multi-tenant deployment, you can now further separate not only from the SIMC traffic from the UCSM, but also from different customers inside different VLANs. So this is a great big advantage from there, and especially in a multi-deployment to give a little bit more secure deployment model, and as well as it gives you a bigger bandwidth from a 1 gig to a 10 gig to better support simultaneous SIMC activities. This ends the UCS Advantage video, where we show how unique capabilities in UCS Cisco UCS can lead to a simplified deployment models with much faster service turnaround to meet the increasing demands of the business. Please go to www.cisco.com/go/UCS for printed collateral, including a brochure that highlights the information shown in this video. Thank you.